Podcast. Part 1. Anna and the Coffee Mix-Up. It was 7:45 on a Wednesday morning, and Anna was already 5 minutes behind schedule. She walked quickly down Maple Street, her work bag swinging on one shoulder, her hair still a little damp from the shower. It wasn't raining, but the sky looked like it hadn't made up its mind yet. As she turned the corner, the smell of fresh coffee hit her like a warm blanket. The cafe on 3rd Avenue was already buzzing. A line of office workers stood waiting, checking their phones, yawning, some already holding breakfast burritos like trophies. Anna pushed open the door with her elbow and joined the line. She had been to this cafe a few times, but she still wasn't used to how fast everything moved. The baristas were friendly but fast. No time to think. She rehearsed her order in her head. "Hi, can I get a medium iced latte with oat milk? And a blueberry muffin?" Easy enough. When it was her turn, she stepped up to the counter. "Morning," the barista said without looking up. "What can I get started for you?" Anna smiled. "Hi, can I have a medium iced latte, oat milk, and a blueberry muffin?" The barista tapped on the screen. "All right, iced latte with oat. Anything else?" "Nope, that's it." "Cool. Name?" "Anna." She paid, stepped to the side, and waited. The music was loud, something upbeat with too much bass. A group of people behind her were laughing about someone's dog. She wasn't really listening. 1 minute passed. Then 2. Finally, a different barista called out, "Anna, hot oat latte and banana muffin." "Wait, banana?" She stepped forward. "I think it was supposed to be a blueberry muffin." The barista looked at the order on the cup. "It says banana. You want to switch it?" "If that's okay," she said quickly. "Sorry." "No problem," he replied. "We'll fix it. Just a sec." She stepped back. Behind her, a guy in a gray hoodie smiled and said, "That happens to me like every week." Anna laughed softly. "Yeah, I guess I still get nervous when I order. Everything moves so fast." The guy nodded, "Especially here. You blink and they're like, 'Next?'" "Exactly," she said. "It's like a game show." He chuckled. "I just say, same as usual now, it's safer." A moment later, the barista handed her a bag with the right muffin. Blueberry, as requested. "And sorry for the mix-up." Anna smiled. "Thank you so much. Have a good one." "You too," the barista said. She turned to leave and gave a little wave to the guy in the gray hoodie. He nodded back. As she stepped outside, the first few drops of rain finally arrived. She pulled her hood up, took a sip of her coffee, and smiled. Still warm. Still good. Let's take a moment to look at the English in this story. Nothing was complicated, but it was real. And there are a few phrases you can use every day. Let's start with the order. Anna said, "Can I have a medium iced latte with oat milk?" This is a perfect example of how to order in a polite, natural way. You don't need please in every sentence if your tone is friendly. And when the barista asked, "Name?" that's short for, "What's your name?" In real life, native speakers often shorten questions like this. You might hear phone number, card or cash, for here or to go. These are all casual, quick service style. Now let's look at the small problem, the wrong muffin. Anna said, "I think it was supposed to be a blueberry muffin." This is a soft, polite way to correct someone. She didn't say, "You gave me the wrong one." She said, "I think it was supposed to be." That's a great strategy for avoiding conflict. You can also say, "I'm sorry, but I think this might be the wrong one. I ordered a blueberry muffin, not banana. Could I get the blueberry one instead?" The barista replied, "You want to switch it?" "Wanna" is a casual way of saying "want to." You'll hear it all the time. "Do you want to eat here?" "I want to grab lunch first. You want to switch it?" Then Anna said, "If that's okay." "Sorry, that's polite and kind. Even when it's not your mistake, a soft sorry helps the tone. The guy behind her said, "That happens to me every week." That's a way to say, "Don't worry, it's normal." You can use this phrase when someone feels awkward or makes a small mistake. That happens. Happens to me too. You're not alone. Finally, notice the goodbye. Anna said, "Thanks so much. Have a good one." This is a super common way to say goodbye at a shop or cafe. Other options: "Have a nice day." "Take care. You too." Let's say a few of these together. "Can I get a medium iced latte with oat milk?" "I think it was supposed to be a blueberry muffin." "Could we switch it?" "Thanks so much. Have a good one." Great. Here's the big idea for today. Even simple situations like buying coffee are full of small English moments. You don't need fancy grammar. You just need to listen, speak clearly, and keep your tone kind and relaxed. In the next episode, you'll meet Jason, who ends up on the wrong train platform and has to ask a stranger for directions. We'll practice asking for help, reacting politely, and finding the right words when things go a little wrong. Talk to you soon. Podcast, Part 2. Jason misses his stop. Jason had only lived in the city for 3 months, but he already felt like a local. Most mornings, he rode the Blue Line downtown to get to work. He liked listening to music, leaning back in his seat and letting the train rock gently as it sped through tunnels and across bridges. The ride gave him 25 minutes of quiet before a long day of emails and spreadsheets. But that Thursday, things didn't go as planned. Jason was tired. He had stayed up way too late finishing a report, and when he got on the train that morning, he put on his headphones and let his head rest against the window. The station signs passed by, but he didn't really see them. Then, somewhere around Station 12, the train slowed. A robotic voice announced the next stop, but Jason wasn't paying attention. He looked up and saw bright sunlight through the window. That was strange. His usual station was underground. He checked his phone and froze. Wait, where was he? The train came to a stop. People got off. The doors stayed open for a few seconds. Then Jason jumped up and asked the guy next to him, "Hey, sorry, what stop is this?" The man pulled out one earbud and answered, "Highland Park." Jason blinked. Highland Park? That was 4 stops past where he was supposed to get off. "Oh man," he said out loud. The guy smiled. "You missed your stop?" "Yeah, totally zoned out." "No worries, man. Happens to the best of us. You can just hop off and take the next train back the other way." Jason nodded, grabbed his bag, and stepped off the train just before the doors closed. He looked around. The station was quiet, fewer people. And the platform didn't look familiar at all. Across from him, a woman in a long coat and glasses was waiting for the next train going the opposite direction. Jason walked over. "Excuse me," he said. "I think I took the train too far. Do you know if the next one goes downtown?" She looked up from her book and smiled. "Yeah, it should be here in about 6 minutes. You just wait on this side." "Thanks," Jason said. "I spaced out and missed my stop." She nodded. "Happens. The trains all look the same after a while." Jason laughed. "Yeah, they do. Appreciate the help." "No problem." They stood in silence for a moment, then she added, "If you're heading to Downtown Crossing, this next one should take you straight there." "Don't worry." Jason gave a thumbs up. "Downtown Crossing, that's the one I missed." A few minutes later, the train arrived. As they both stepped on, Jason smiled and said, "Thanks again. I owe you one." The woman shrugged. "Just city life. We've all been there." Now say goodbye to your client. All right, let's break the story down and look at the English. The first important moment is when Jason realized he had missed his stop. He turned to someone and said, "Hey, sorry, what stop is this?" This is a natural way to ask for information when you're not sure. The sorry at the beginning makes it polite. Even though he's interrupting, his tone is friendly. You can also ask, "Excuse me, where are we?" "Do you know what station this is?" Sorry to bother you. What stop is this? Then the man says, You can just hop off and take the next train back the other way. Hop off is an informal way of saying get off. It's very common in spoken English. Examples: I'll hop off at the next stop. You can hop off here and walk. And take the next train back the other way means get on the same line, going the opposite direction. Now, when Jason asked the woman on the platform, Do you know if the next one goes downtown? Again, he uses do you know if, a great phrase for asking questions politely. Other examples: Do you know if this seat is taken? Do you know if the cafe is still open? Do you know if the bus stops here? Then Jason said, I spaced out and missed my stop. Spaced out is a slang expression. It means you were not paying attention, often because you're tired or distracted. It's casual, and native speakers use it all the time. Here are some ways to use it. Sorry, I spaced out. What did you say? I was totally spacing out during that meeting. I missed my turn. I spaced. Now let's look at the phrase, I owe you one. This means thank you in a friendly way. It also suggests you'll return the favor someday. You can say, thanks. I owe you one. Big help. Really, I owe you. You saved me there. I owe you. And finally, the woman's last sentence. Just city life. We've all been there. This is a simple, kind way to say, don't feel bad. Everyone makes these mistakes. You're not alone. You can also say, don't worry. We've all done that. It happens. Part of living here. You're not the first, trust me. Let's practice a few sentences from this story. Say them out loud. Hey, sorry, what stop is this? I think I took the train too far. Do you know if the next one goes downtown? I spaced out and missed my stop. Thanks, I owe you one. We've all been there. Very good. So what can we take away from today? Even in a big, busy city, people are usually willing to help, if you ask clearly and kindly. Use simple questions. Say sorry or excuse me. And when things go wrong, laugh a little, because they go wrong for everyone. In the next episode, you'll meet Nora, who's trying to return a sweater at a clothing store but can't find her receipt. You'll learn how to ask for help, explain small problems, and use calm, polite English when dealing with store staff. See you there. Podcast. Part 3. Nora and the sweater return. Saturday afternoon. Slightly chilly outside, the kind of weather that makes you want to stay in bed. But Nora had errands to run. She stepped into the clothing store holding a small paper bag and wearing the same polite but firm expression she always used when she needed to complain without actually sounding angry. She headed straight to the counter where a young man in a red polo shirt was folding a stack of jeans. Hi there, she began. I'd like to return this sweater. I bought it last week, but it's just not the right fit. No problem, he said with a smile. Do you have the receipt? Nora paused. That's the thing. I can't find it. I checked everywhere. I do have the tag still on the sweater, and I paid by card. Okay, the guy replied. Do you remember which day you bought it? Last Sunday, I think. Late afternoon. All right, let me see if I can pull it up in the system. Do you remember what card you used? Visa? He nodded and typed something into the register. Nora waited, trying not to look impatient. The store was busy. A couple next to her was arguing over the color of a jacket. A teenager nearby was FaceTiming a friend to ask if the jeans were too much. The music overhead was loud, some remix she didn't recognize. After a minute, the guy looked up. Okay, I think I found it. Was it a cream-colored sweater, size small? That's the one. All right, we can process a return, but just so you know, without a receipt, we have to refund it to a store card. We can't put it back on your Visa. That's fine, Nora said. I shop here all the time. Cool. Can I just see the item? She pulled the sweater out of the bag and handed it over. Tag still on. Folded neatly. Great, he said. You made my life easy today. Some people bring stuff back all wrinkled and worn. Nora laughed softly. I used to work retail. I know the pain. He smiled. That explains the patience. One sec, I'll print the card. A few seconds later, he handed her a thin red envelope. Store credit for $39.95. No expiration. Thank you, Nora said. Appreciate the help. You got it. Have a good one. You too. As she turned to leave, she passed a woman holding up a scarf to the mirror. Nora paused, then tapped her gently on the arm. That color looks great on you, she said. The woman blinked, surprised, then smiled. Oh, thank you. I wasn't sure. But I love this blue. You should go for it, Nora said. Definitely your color. The woman laughed. Well, now I kind of have to, don't I? Nora smiled, gave her a friendly nod, and headed out the door. The air outside was still cold, but somehow it felt a little brighter. Now let's talk about the English in this conversation. First, the opening. Hi there, I'd like to return this sweater. This is a polite, direct way to start a return. You can also say, hi, I bought this last week and I'd like to return it. I was wondering if I could return this. I'd like to exchange this for something else. Next, when the cashier asks, do you have the receipt? This is always the first question when returning an item, and Nora says, that's the thing. I can't find it. That's the thing is a great expression to introduce a small problem. It prepares the other person gently. You can also say, here's the thing. I lost it. That's the issue. I don't have the receipt. Then the cashier says, let me see if I can pull it up in the system. This means, let me check the computer to find your purchase. It's common when you've paid by card. He also asks, do you remember what card you used? That's another way to help them find your order. Now, when he says, we have to refund it to a store card, we can't put it back on your Visa. This means you get store credit, not cash or money on your card. That's a common policy when you don't have the receipt. Then Nora says, that's fine. I shop here all the time. This is a nice, friendly sentence. It also shows she's okay with the solution. When she hands him the sweater, he says, you made my life easy today. That's a friendly, casual way to say, thank you for not making this difficult. You were polite and organized. You can use this phrase when someone makes something simple. You just made my life easier. Thanks for the info. That saved me a ton of time. You're making this too easy. Then Nora says, I used to work retail. I know the pain. I used to work retail means she had a job like his before. I know the pain is a slangy way to say, I understand how annoying it can be. Let's pause here and say a few sentences together. Hi there. I'd like to return this sweater. That's the thing. I lost the receipt. Do you remember what card you used? We'll refund it to a store card. You made my life easy today. I used to work retail. I know the pain. Now let's talk about that last moment in the store. Nora complimented another customer by saying, that color looks great on you. This is simple but powerful. It can brighten someone's day. Other ways to say it, that dress looks amazing on you. I love that color. It suits you. That really brings out your eyes. And the woman answered, well, now I kind of have to, don't I? This is a playful way of saying, now that you've complimented it, I feel like I should buy it. Kinda is a spoken version of kind of. You'll hear it all the time. I kind of like it. I'm kind of tired. It's kind of tricky, but not bad. Let's say that ending again. You should go for it. Now I kind of have to, don't I? Perfect. Here's the message for today. Being polite doesn't mean sounding formal. It just means being calm, respectful, and clear. And sometimes it means being kind to a stranger with a few nice words. In the next episode, we'll follow Leo, who gets stuck at a traffic light with a flat tire and has to ask someone for help. We'll practice describing problems, saying thank you sincerely, and reacting when someone helps you out of nowhere. Talk to you soon. Podcast, Part 4. Leo and the flat tire. It was 5:26 in the evening when Leo heard the sound. A low, flapping noise, like a wet towel being dragged across the pavement. He was stuck at a red light 3 blocks from home. The sun was setting fast and traffic was starting to pile up behind him. He rolled down his window and leaned out slightly. The noise was coming from the back right tire. Leo sighed. Not now. The light turned green. He turned on his hazard lights and pulled over slowly to the side of the road. As he stepped out and walked around the car, he saw the damage. Flat tire. Completely flat. He crouched down, looked at it, then stood up and checked his phone. 1% battery. He stared at the screen. You've got to be kidding me. No charger, no spare, and no way to call for help. Just as he was about to sit on the curb and figure things out, he heard a voice. Hey, you all right? Leo looked up. A woman about his age was standing beside a scooter wearing a helmet and holding a grocery bag. Yeah, just a flat, Leo said. Need a hand? I don't have a spare, he said, rubbing the back of his neck. And my phone's about to die. She nodded. There's a gas station just around the corner. They have an air pump, and I think they sell temporary patch kits. You want to walk over? I can watch your car. You sure? Yeah, I live nearby. It's no big deal. Leo hesitated, then nodded. Thanks, I appreciate it. He jogged off toward the corner. 5 minutes later, he returned with a small repair kit and a bottle of water. You were right. They had exactly what I needed. Told you, she smiled. You good now? Leo nodded. I think so. At least enough to get home. As he crouched again to fix the tire, she placed her groceries gently on the sidewalk and leaned against her scooter. You from around here? She asked. Just moved in last month. You? Born and raised. You don't act like it. Why's that? You stopped to help. She laughed. I was raised right. Leo smiled. Fair enough. A few minutes later, he stood up, wiping his hands on his jeans. All right, I owe you one. Big time. She waved it off. No worries. Get home safe. Leo hesitated. You like coffee? She raised an eyebrow. Depends who's asking. Leo smiled. A grateful guy who just got rescued. She grinned. I'll take a cappuccino. No sugar. Deal? They exchanged first names and Leo promised to return the favor. Next time, with caffeine. Now let's break it down and talk about the language in this story. First, the sound Leo heard. A low, flapping noise, like a wet towel being dragged on the pavement. This kind of description is helpful in daily conversations. It uses comparison, not technical words. You don't need to say, my tire was flat. You can say, it sounded weird, like something was dragging. Next, when Leo says, not now. This is a very common way to express frustration. Just 2 words said quietly. You can say, not now. Seriously? Come on. Then he checks his phone. 1% battery. Notice how he doesn't say, my battery is low. He just names the number. In real life, we often drop grammar and just react. Next, when the woman asks, you all right? That's a softer version of, are you okay? It's casual, kind. Then she offers, need a hand? This is a great idiom. It means, do you need help? Simple, friendly, and useful. Try using it. Need a hand with that box? You need a hand carrying those? Want a hand fixing that? Leo replies, I don't have a spare. My phone's about to die. That's a real-life way to describe a problem. No need to explain everything, just the facts. Simple, short sentences. When she says, there's a gas station around the corner. They have an air pump and patch kits. She gives clear, short directions. In everyday speech, people often talk like this. Around the corner, across the street, right behind that building. Then she says, you want to walk over? I can watch your car. You want to means do you want to? It's fast, natural, and totally normal in speech. And watch your car means, I'll stay here so no one messes with it. Later, when Leo says, you don't act like it, he's joking. He means, most people in big cities don't stop to help. And she answers, I was raised right. That's a way of saying my family taught me to be kind. Then Leo offers, you like coffee? And she replies, depends who's asking. This is playful. She's not saying yes or no, she's teasing a little. That's real conversation flow. And when Leo says, a grateful guy who just got rescued, that's a warm way to say thank you while also inviting more connection. Finally, when she says, cappuccino, no sugar, it's her way of saying, yes, I'll take that coffee. Let's practice a few key expressions from today's story. Need a hand? My phone's about to die. You want to walk over? I was raised right. Depends who's asking. A grateful guy who just got rescued. Excellent. So here's your reminder today. You don't need perfect English to ask for or offer help. You just need a few real phrases, a clear voice, and a good heart. Most people will meet you halfway. In the next episode, we'll meet Carla, who's on her first day at a new job and has to join a video call with people she's never met. We'll talk about introductions, small talk, and how to sound confident even when you feel nervous inside. See you next time. Part 5. Carla's first video call. Carla took a deep breath and clicked Join Meeting. Her screen flickered. 3 faces appeared. She adjusted her camera quickly, checked her hair one more time in the tiny window, and forced a smile. A man with glasses leaned forward and said, Morning, you must be Carla, right? Carla nodded. Hi, yes, I'm Carla. Nice to meet you all. It's my first day. Welcome aboard, the man replied. I'm Sam, the marketing team lead. Another woman waved from the corner of her screen. Hey, Carla, I'm Mel. I'm in Sydney, so if I look tired, it's because it's almost midnight here. Not because of you. Carla laughed softly. You still look more awake than I feel. The group chuckled, and just like that, the tension broke. Carla felt her shoulders drop a little. So, Sam said, why don't we just start with a quick round of intros? Nothing formal, just name, role, and maybe one random fact. Carla smiled. Sure, I'll go first, since I'm new. I'm Carla. I'm joining the content team. Before this, I was working at a startup in Chicago. And fun fact, I make a mean banana bread. Mel lit up. Oh, nice. I like you already. Sam laughed. That's exactly the kind of fun fact we needed. I'll go next. The introductions rolled on, and within 10 minutes, Carla was starting to relax. As the meeting moved to the project list, Carla mostly listened. There were acronyms she didn't understand. People mentioned Q3 goals and deck updates and branding syncs. She didn't want to interrupt, so she wrote things down quickly in her notebook. After about 20 minutes, Sam turned to her. Carla, no pressure, but do you want to tell us a little about what you're hoping to focus on in the first few weeks? Carla paused. Her camera felt like a spotlight. Sure, she said. I'm hoping to get familiar with your tone and voice, and maybe support with blog content and social captions first. Then gradually take on newsletters once I get the rhythm. Mel gave a thumbs up. That sounds great. We'll definitely loop you into the next campaign brainstorm. Perfect, Carla said. At the end of the call, Sam added one more thing. By the way, Carla, don't hesitate to ping any of us if you're ever stuck. First week is always a lot. Will do, she said. Thanks, everyone. See you soon. See? The meeting ended. The screen went black. Carla leaned back in her chair, let out a deep breath, and smiled. Not perfect, but not bad at all. Now, let's talk through the English in that story. First, Carla said, Nice to meet you all. That's a very polite way to greet people when you're in a group. You can also say, Great to be here. Happy to join the team. Excited to get started. When Sam said, "Welcome aboard," that's a friendly phrase often used in companies. It means, "Welcome to the team or company." You'll hear it often during your first day. "Now," Mel said, "if I look tired, it's because it's almost midnight here, not because of you." That's a light joke, a way to make Carla feel relaxed. Then Carla replied with, "You still look more awake than I feel." This kind of small talk builds connection. It's playful, polite, and easy to understand. Then came the introductions. Sam said, "Just name, role, and one random fact." You might hear this in team meetings or workshops. A random fact is just something fun, not related to work. Carla said, "I make a mean banana bread." I make a mean is an idiom. It means I'm really good at making. People say this jokingly. You can say, "I make a mean cup of coffee." She makes a mean lasagna. He plays a mean guitar. Next, Carla said, "I'm hoping to get familiar with your tone and voice." Tone and voice here refer to how the company writes and communicates with customers. It's common in marketing and content teams. She also said, "Then take on newsletters once I get the rhythm." Take on means to begin working on. Once I get the rhythm means once I understand how things flow here. Mel responded, "We'll loop you into the next brainstorm." To loop someone in means to include them in a future meeting or discussion. Sam said, "Don't hesitate to ping any of us." To ping someone means to send them a quick message, usually in chat, Slack, or email. This is very common in office language. Finally, Carla said, "Not perfect, but not bad at all." This is the kind of sentence people often say to themselves after doing something new. It shows self-encouragement without being too proud. Let's practice a few key phrases from this story. Say them out loud with me. Nice to meet you all. Welcome aboard. I make a mean banana bread. Take on newsletters once I get the rhythm. We'll loop you in, ping me if you get stuck. Not bad at all. Great. So here's the message for today. Your first day doesn't need to be perfect. Just show up, smile, and be ready to listen. Use simple phrases and don't be afraid to write things down. Every conversation teaches you something new. In the next episode, we'll meet Malik, who's at the doctor's office trying to explain what's been bothering him lately. We'll focus on how to talk about symptoms, ask clear questions, and feel more confident in health-related situations. Part 6. Malik at the doctor's office. Malik sat on the edge of the exam table, fidgeting with the sleeves of his hoodie. The room was quiet, except for the ticking clock and the faint buzz of fluorescent lights overhead. He looked around. A poster about allergies on the wall, a skeleton model in the corner, a small container of tongue depressors. The door opened and a young woman in a white coat stepped in. "Hi there," she said with a warm smile. "I'm Dr. Evans. How are you doing today?" Malik nodded. "Hey, I'm all right, I guess." She sat on a rolling stool and pulled up a tablet. "So, what brings you in?" Malik cleared his throat. "Yeah, so, I've been having this tight feeling in my chest. Not painful exactly, just uncomfortable. And it comes and goes." Does it happen more at night or during the day?" "Usually at night, especially when I lie down." "Any cough? Shortness of breath?" "Yeah, I mean, sometimes. Like when I'm walking fast or going upstairs," Dr. Evans nodded. "Doctor, any history of asthma or allergies?" "Not really. I mean, I had a bit of asthma as a kid, but nothing serious." "And how long has this been going on?" "Maybe 3 weeks. I didn't really notice it at first, but it's been more consistent lately." She nodded again, typing notes into her tablet. "Okay, any fever? Fatigue? Have you been sleeping all right?" Malik shrugged. "Not great. I wake up a lot, and I've been super tired during the day." "All right, thanks for being clear. Let's listen to your lungs real quick." She stood up and placed the stethoscope in her ears. Deep breath in and out. Again and out. She moved the stethoscope around his back, listening carefully. Okay, lungs sound pretty clear, but I'd like to get a chest x-ray just to be safe. Also, I'm going to check your oxygen level and maybe do a quick breathing test. Cool, Malik said. That makes sense. She smiled. Nothing to worry about yet, all right? It could be something simple, like acid reflux or even anxiety. But we'll check everything to be sure. Malik nodded. Thanks, Doc. Appreciate you taking the time. That's what I'm here for. A few minutes later, a nurse came in to do the tests. Malik followed her instructions, sat still during the x-ray, and blew hard into a plastic tube for the breathing test. Back in the exam room, he sat waiting. He noticed a sticker on the wall that said, "Please silence your phone." He smiled. His phone was already on 5%. Eventually, Dr. Evans returned. Okay, good news, she said. Nothing serious on the x-ray? Breathing test is a little on the low side, but still in range. I think we're dealing with a mild respiratory issue, possibly triggered by stress or a seasonal change. So, what now? Malik asked. I'll prescribe you a mild inhaler to use at night, and I want you to track your symptoms for the next 10 days. If things get worse or don't improve, we'll do more tests. All right, sounds fair. Also, make sure you're drinking enough water. Try sleeping propped up a bit. And if you're feeling anxious or overwhelmed, don't ignore it. That stuff can show up in your body, too. Malik nodded slowly. Yeah, I've been under a lot lately, not gonna lie. Totally understandable, she said. Just keep checking in with yourself. And if you need anything, message us. We're here. He smiled. Thanks again. On his way out, he passed the front desk, picked up the prescription, and booked a follow-up appointment. As he walked back to his car, the sun was already starting to dip. He breathed in deeply, still tight, but somehow a little lighter. Let's go over some useful language from that story. First, the doctor asked, "What brings you in?" This is a very common way to ask, "Why did you come to see the doctor today?" Other versions, "What seems to be the problem? What are you experiencing? Tell me what's going on." Next, Malik said, "I've been having this tight feeling in my chest." Not painful exactly, just uncomfortable. Notice how he used clear but simple language. He didn't try to use medical words, just what he feels. Then he said, "It comes and goes." This is a great phrase. It means the problem isn't constant. It appears sometimes and then disappears again. He also said, "It's been more consistent lately." That means it's happening more regularly now. You can use this when symptoms change. Later, the doctor said, "Let's listen to your lungs real quick." Real quick is a casual way to say briefly or for a short moment. When she gave instructions, she said, "Deep breath in and out." This is the standard phrase doctors use when checking your lungs. It's useful to know what to expect. She also said, "Lungs sound pretty clear." That's good news. If something sounds clear, it usually means no infection or blockage. Then she said, "Nothing to worry about yet." The word "yet" here shows that things seem okay, but they'll keep watching. She suggested try sleeping propped up a bit. To sleep propped up means to sleep with extra pillows, so your upper body is raised. Finally, Malik said, "Not gonna lie, I've been under a lot lately." This is a common spoken phrase. Not gonna lie means you're being honest, sometimes about something personal. Let's say some key phrases out loud together. What brings you in today? It comes and goes. It's been more consistent lately. Let's listen to your lungs real quick. Try sleeping propped up a bit. Not gonna lie, I've been under a lot. Great. Here's your reminder for today. When talking to a doctor, you don't need big words. Just be honest, describe what you feel, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Most doctors appreciate clear, simple communication. In the next episode, you'll meet Kayla, who's helping a tourist find their way in a busy train station. We'll practice giving directions, being polite to strangers, and how to say you're not sure without sounding rude. See you there. Part 7. Kayla helps a tourist. The train station was loud, crowded, and full of confused people dragging suitcases. Kayla had just finished her morning coffee and was heading toward Platform 6 to catch her train to work. She moved through the crowd with ease. This was her usual route. She knew every corner of the station, every escalator, every shortcut. As she walked past a group of travelers, she felt a light tap on her arm. "Excuse me," a voice said. She turned. A man, maybe in his 50s, was standing there with a small map in one hand and a very lost look on his face. "Hi," he said. "Sorry, do you know how to get to the Green Line?" Kayla smiled. "Yeah, sure. You're actually not too far." "Where are you trying to go?" "Park Street," he said quickly. "I just got in this morning, from Chicago." "Okay, no problem. You want the Green Line toward downtown. You'll take the escalator over there?" She pointed to the left, then go down one level. "You'll see signs for green and red. Just follow the green signs." "Got it," he said. "Down the escalator, then look for green." "Exactly. And Park Street's on the same line?" "Yup, it's about 4 stops from here." He looked relieved. "Thanks a million. I was starting to feel a little lost." Kayla smiled. "It happens. This place can be a maze. Right? I walked in a circle for like 10 minutes. You're not the first, trust me." He laughed. "You live around here?" "Yeah, I take this train almost every day. Then you're my hero today. Glad I could help." They both smiled, and he turned to head toward the escalator. "Hey, one more thing," he called out. "Do I need a ticket before I go down?" "Yes," Kayla said. "There's a ticket machine just past those stairs. You can use card or cash." "Perfect. Thanks again." "No problem. Safe travels." As he walked away, Kayla glanced at the clock. Still had 3 minutes. She took a breath and smiled to herself. Helping someone had only taken a minute, but it made her morning feel a little lighter. Yes, now let's look at the useful English in this conversation. First, the tourist said, "Excuse me, do you know how to get to the Green Line?" This is a great, polite way to ask for help. Start with "excuse me," then use "do you know" to soften the question. Other examples. "Excuse me. Do you know where the nearest restroom is?" "Excuse me. Do you know how to get to the museum?" "Excuse me. Do you know if this is the right train?" Kayla responded, "Yeah, sure, you're actually not too far. That means he's close to the place he's looking for." Then she asked, "Where are you trying to go?" That's a natural way to ask about someone's destination. You could also say, "Where do you need to be? Where are you headed?" The tourist replied, "Park Street. I just got in this morning, from Chicago." This is a good example of how travelers introduce themselves briefly when asking for help. Kayla said, "You'll take the escalator over there, then go down one level." Notice how she gave directions using simple steps. Take the escalator. Go down one level. She also said, "You'll see signs for green and red. Just follow the green signs." Follow the signs is a common phrase when giving directions inside stations, airports, or big buildings. The man asked, "Park Street's on the same line?" He's checking if he needs to transfer. Using a question like this is normal and polite. Kayla confirmed, "Yup, it's about 4 stops from here." The word yup is a casual way to say yes. Very common in spoken English. The man said, "Thanks a million. I was starting to feel a little lost." Thanks a million means thank you very much. It's friendly and warm. Kayla replied, "It happens. This place can be a maze." It happens means don't worry, this is common. And a maze means the place is easy to get lost in. He said, "I walked in a circle for like 10 minutes. That's another way of saying I was confused and kept going the wrong way. Later, Kayla said, "You're not the first, trust me." That's a kind way to say a lot of people make the same mistake. The man joked, "Then you're my hero today?" That's a very nice way to say, "You really helped me." Finally, when he asked, "Do I need a ticket before I go down?" That's a practical question, and Kayla answered, There's a ticket machine just past those stairs. You can use card or cash. That's how to give clear, helpful instructions. Let's practice some useful phrases from this story. Repeat them with me. Excuse me. Do you know how to get to the Green Line? Where are you trying to go? You'll take the escalator and go down one level. Just follow the green signs. It happens. This place is a maze. You're not the first, trust me. There's a ticket machine. You can use card or cash. Great job. So here's the takeaway for today. Giving directions doesn't have to be complicated. Use simple steps, stay calm, and speak clearly. If you're the one asking for help, remember to start with "excuse me" and always say thank you. That kindness goes a long way. In the next episode, we'll meet Diego, who's at a busy cafe and trying to figure out what someone meant when they said "for here" or "to go." We'll focus on how to handle fast-paced conversations, understand quick questions, and respond naturally in busy places. Part 8. Diego at the busy cafe Saturday morning. Diego was in a good mood. He had just finished his morning jog and decided to stop by a cafe he hadn't been to before. The place was called the Bean House. From outside, it looked cozy. Brick walls, hanging plants, and a chalkboard with the words "Best Latte in Town" written in big letters. Inside, the cafe was buzzing. Music was playing, milk was steaming, people were chatting, and baristas moved quickly behind the counter. Diego got in line. He looked at the menu board. So many options. Latte, flat white, cold brew, chai, matcha? He was still deciding when the barista looked up. Next. Diego stepped forward. "Hi, good morning. Could I get a cappuccino, please?" "For here or to go?" Diego froze for a second. The question came out fast. He wasn't ready. "Sorry? For here or to go?" "Oh, to go. Thanks." The barista nodded and started preparing the drink. Diego stepped to the side and watched. Behind him, a woman was ordering something with oat milk and vanilla syrup. A guy near the pickup counter was checking his name on a cup. 2 minutes later, the barista placed the drink on the counter. "Cappuccino to go for Diego." He walked over, grabbed it, and gave a small smile. "Thanks. Smells great." "Enjoy," the barista said. Diego stepped outside and took a sip. Warm, creamy, strong. Perfect. But he kept thinking about that moment. For here or to go? He had heard the phrase before, but today it just hit him too fast. He smiled to himself. Next time, he'd be ready. Adios. Let's go over the key phrases and language from this story. First, Diego said, "Hi, good morning. Could I get a cappuccino, please?" This is a polite, natural way to order coffee. You can also say, "Can I have a cappuccino, please?" "I'd like a cappuccino." "One cappuccino, please." Then the barista asked, "For here or to go?" This question means, are you staying in the cafe to drink your coffee or are you taking it with you? If you're staying, you say, "For here." If you're leaving, you say, "To go." This question is super common in coffee shops and fast food places. Other ways they might ask, is that for here or takeout? You want that to go? The key is to listen for the tone and speed. In busy cafes, people speak quickly. If you don't understand, it's okay to ask. "Sorry, can you repeat that?" "Excuse me, what did you say?" Diego said, "Oh, to go." "Thanks." This is a natural way to react when you're unsure. The small pause, it's all part of real speech. Next, the barista called out, "Cappuccino to go for Diego." This is the standard way baristas call out orders. They say the drink, if it's to go or for here, and the customer's name. You might hear, "Iced latte for Sarah." "Matcha to go for Ben." "Flat white for here, no name." Diego responded with, "Thanks. Smells great." This is a nice, simple comment. You don't need to say much, just something friendly. The barista said, "Enjoy." That's short for enjoy your drink, a common farewell at cafes. Now, Diego reflected, he kept thinking about that moment. For here or to go, this shows how real conversations stay with us, even small ones. He smiled and said to himself, next time, I'll be ready. Let's practice a few phrases together. Say them out loud with me. Could I get a cappuccino, please? For here or to go? Sorry, can you repeat that? To go, thanks. Smells great. Enjoy. Next time, I'll be ready. Excellent. Here's the takeaway for today. In fast-paced places like cafes, conversations move quickly. You might not catch every word. That's okay. Just focus on key phrases. Listen for the rhythm. And if you miss something, don't panic. A simple smile and a short response can keep things smooth. In the next episode, we'll meet Aisha, who's at a small neighborhood party and finds herself making small talk with strangers. We'll explore how to introduce yourself naturally, ask light questions, and keep conversations going without feeling awkward. See you soon. Part 9. Aisha and the Backyard Party. The sun was setting and the backyard lights were already on. A string of tiny warm bulbs hung between two trees, casting a soft glow over the picnic tables. There were bowls of chips, bottles of soda, a cooler full of ice, and the soft hum of a Bluetooth speaker playing old-school R&B. Aisha didn't know many people here. She had just moved into the neighborhood 2 weeks ago. Her upstairs neighbor, Paula, had invited her to this small community get-together. Nothing fancy, just some folks from the building, a few neighbors from next door, and snacks. She stood near the table holding a paper plate with 2 cookies and a handful of grapes when a guy in a blue flannel shirt walked over. Hey, I don't think we've met. I'm Chris. Aisha smiled. Hey, I'm Aisha. I just moved into apartment 4B. Oh, cool. Welcome to the building. Thanks. It's been nice so far. Chris nodded. So, what brought you to this part of town? Aisha took a sip of her lemonade. Honestly, I was looking for someplace quieter. My last place was near a main road. Sirens every night. Yeah, I hear that. This block's pretty peaceful. Except for the occasional noisy raccoon. She laughed. Oh, great. I'll keep my trash cans locked then. Smart move. They both smiled. Chris took a sip from his soda. So, what do you do? I'm in graphic design, mostly freelance. And you? IT. I fix printers and explain the internet to people's grandparents. Aisha laughed again. That's a noble cause. Well, someone's gotta do it. There was a short pause, then Chris gestured to the food table. You try the cookies yet? Yeah, pretty good. I think someone spiked them with cinnamon. Nice. They chatted for a few more minutes about the building, favorite local cafes, the weird smell in the hallway sometimes. Nothing deep, just easygoing talk. Then Paula walked by. Hey, Aisha, meeting the crew? Trying to, Aisha said with a grin. Well, don't be shy. Come join us near the fire pit when you're done here. Will do. Chris gave a wave. Catch you later. You too. As she walked toward the fire pit, cookie in hand, Aisha smiled to herself. Not bad for a quiet Saturday. Not bad at all. Now let's break down the everyday English from that story. First, Chris said, Hey, I don't think we've met. I'm Chris. This is a classic way to start a casual introduction. It's friendly, soft, and invites the other person to share their name. You can also say, I haven't seen you around before. You must be new here. Mind if I join you? Aisha replied, Hey, I'm Aisha. I just moved into apartment 4B. That's a clear way to say where you live without oversharing. Next, Chris asked, What brought you to this part of town? This is a nice, polite question. It means, Why did you choose to move here? And Aisha answered, I was looking for someplace quieter. Someplace is a casual way to say somewhere. And quieter means less noise, more peace. Then Chris made a small joke. except for the occasional noisy raccoon. That's an example of neighborhood humor. Light, local, not too serious. Aisha responded, I'll keep my trash cans locked then. That's a smart reply. She continues the joke while also sounding relaxed. Chris asked, What do you do? Short for, What do you do for work? Aisha said, I'm in graphic design, mostly freelance. Mostly freelance means she works for herself, not a company. Then she said, That's a noble cause. This is a fun way to say that's useful and important work, especially in a joking context. Later, they used food to keep the conversation going. Chris asked, You try the cookies yet? This is a great small talk move. Food is an easy, safe topic. Aisha said, I think someone spiked them with cinnamon. To spike food usually means to add alcohol, but here she's joking. It just means someone added extra flavor. Finally, Chris said, Catch you later. That's a very casual way to say goodbye. Let's repeat a few key phrases together. I don't think we've met. I'm Chris. I just moved into apartment 4B. What brought you to this part of town? I was looking for someplace quieter. That's a noble cause. You try the cookies yet? Catch you later. Very good. Here's today's reminder. Small talk isn't about saying something perfect. It's about being open, showing interest, and finding simple topics to connect. Neighborhood events, snacks, even raccoons, they're all part of the story. In the next episode, we'll meet Ben, who's dealing with a delivery gone wrong and needs to call customer service. You'll learn how to explain a problem calmly, ask for a solution, and understand common customer support phrases. Part 10. Ben calls. Customer service. Ben stared at the cardboard box on his front porch. It was open at one end, dented on the side, and covered in light rain. He bent down and picked it up. Inside was a single shoebox, just one. He brought it into the kitchen, tore off the soggy tape, and opened the lid. One sneaker, not a pair? Just the right shoe. Ben blinked, then laughed in disbelief. You've got to be kidding me. He checked the receipt. It clearly said, men's running shoes, size 10, pair. But what he had was a box with just one shoe and some crumpled paper. He grabbed his phone, opened the app, and tapped on customer support. A few taps later, a screen popped up that said, Talk to a representative. He hit the call button. After 2 minutes of hold music, a woman answered. Hello, thanks for calling. Quick Ship Support. My name is Lila. How can I help you today? Hi, yeah, I just got a delivery from you guys, and I think there's a mistake. I'm sorry to hear that. Can you tell me what happened? Sure, I ordered a pair of sneakers, but I only got one shoe in the box. Just one? Just one. Right foot only. Lila chuckled softly. That's definitely not what we intended. Let me pull up your order. What's the order number? Ben read it off from the receipt. All right, I see it here. Looks like it was shipped out 2 days ago. And it says here, a full pair. Exactly. Okay, can I ask, was the box damaged in any way? Yeah, actually, the side was a little crushed, and it looked like it had been opened already. That could mean it got damaged during transit. I'll report that as a shipping issue. We'll definitely make this right for you. Thanks. I just want the second shoe. I have no use for just the right one. Totally fair. Let me issue a replacement for the full pair. You'll get a confirmation email in a few minutes, and we'll fast-track the new shipment. Great. Do you want me to return the lonely shoe? Lila laughed. You can hold on to it for now. If we need it back, we'll send a return label. Bean smiled. All right, I'll keep it company till then. Sounds good. Is there anything else I can help with today? Nope. That's everything. Thanks for being cool about it. Anytime. Have a good one. You too. Ben hung up and looked at the single shoe on the table. Well, buddy, looks like your twin's on the way. Now let's break down the useful English in this conversation. First, Ben said, "Yeah, I just got a delivery, and I think there's a mistake." That's a clear way to report a problem. Simple, calm, and direct. Other ways to say it. Something's wrong with my order. I think I received the wrong item. There's an issue with my package. The support agent asked, "Can you tell me what happened?" This is a common customer service phrase. It invites you to explain your issue. Ben said, "I ordered a pair of sneakers, but I only got one shoe." Very clear and specific. No need for fancy words. Then he added, "Right foot only." This makes it a little funny, which helps keep the tone light. The agent said, "That's definitely not what we intended. This is a polite way to admit a mistake without blaming anyone." She asked, "Was the box damaged in any way?" That's a typical question to check if the problem happened during shipping. Ben replied, "Yeah, the side was crushed, and it looked like it had been opened already." This gives extra detail to help solve the problem. Lila said, "Let me issue a replacement." To issue a replacement means to send a new item for free because of a mistake. She also said, "We'll fast-track the new shipment." Fast-track means they'll ship it quickly, possibly faster than usual. Ben joked, "Do you want me to return the lonely shoe?" That's playful language, but still clear. Lila replied, "If we need it back, we'll send a return label." A return label is a sticker or barcode you use to send something back. Finally, Ben ended with, "Thanks for being cool about it." This is casual but sincere. It means thanks for being helpful and easy to talk to. Let's say some of the key phrases together. Repeat after me. There's a mistake with my delivery. I only received one shoe. Was the box damaged? Let me issue a replacement. We'll fast-track your shipment. Do you want me to return the lonely shoe? Thanks for being cool about it. Nice job. So here's the message today. When things go wrong, stay calm, explain the issue clearly, and use simple words. Most customer service reps will help you out if you stay friendly and patient. In the next episode, you'll meet May, who's booking a haircut and gets into a conversation with the hairdresser about weekend plans. We'll explore how to make casual appointments and chat comfortably while someone's cutting your hair. Part 11. May gets a haircut. The bell above the salon door gave a little jingle as May stepped in. She glanced around. The place was small but bright. Mirrors lined the wall, a shelf full of shampoos, and the gentle hum of a hairdryer in the background. A woman behind the counter looked up and smiled. "Hi there. Do you have an appointment?" "Yeah," May said. "I'm May. I booked for 3 o'clock. Let me check." "Yep, found you. You're with Jenna." "She'll be right out." May nodded and took a seat. A moment later, a woman in black jeans and a gray smock came over, wiping her hands on a towel. "Hi, May. I'm Jenna. Come on back." They walked to the chair and May sat down. "So, what are we doing today?" Jenna asked. "Just a trim, please." "Maybe take off an inch or so, and clean up the layers." "You got it." Jenna gently ran a comb through May's hair, then clipped sections back. "Busy day?" she asked. "Kind of. I work from home, so I've mostly just been answering emails and trying not to get distracted." Jenna laughed. "Yeah, that's a whole skill in itself." "Exactly." As Jenna started cutting, the conversation kept flowing. "So, any weekend plans?" she asked. Not much. Maybe a hike if the weather holds up." "You? I'm actually going to a wedding. My cousin's getting married." "Oh, fun. Local, about an hour out of town. Backyard thing, should be chill." "Nice. Backyard weddings are always kind of cozy." "Yeah, and I get to wear something that's not black for once." They both laughed. As Jenna worked, they chatted about favorite cafes, weird TikTok recipes, and the price of avocados. Nothing too deep. Just relaxed conversation between two people who'd only just met, but clicked easily. After 20 minutes, Jenna spun the chair around. All right, take a look. How's that? May leaned forward, checked the mirror, and smiled. Perfect. Thank you. Glad to hear it. Let me grab the mirror so you can see the back. She held up the hand mirror, and May nodded. Looks great. Awesome. Let's get you checked out. They walked to the front counter. May tapped her card and grabbed a business card from the tray. By the way, your vibe is super chill, she said. I'm definitely coming back. Jenna smiled. You're easy to talk to. Makes my job better. May walked out into the sunshine, hair lighter, smile wider. Now let's go over the everyday English in this story. First, May said, I booked for 3 o'clock. This is a short way to say I have an appointment at 3 p.m. You can also say I have a 3 o'clock appointment. I'm here for a haircut at 3. Then Jenna asked, So, what are we doing today? That's a very casual way to ask, what would you like done with your hair? Other versions. What are we going for today? Just a trim or something new? May replied, Just a trim. Maybe take off an inch and clean up the layers. A trim means cutting just a little to tidy up the hair. Clean up the layers means make the different lengths more even and fresh. Next, Jenna asked, Busy day? That's a classic small talk question. May answered, Kind of. I work from home. Mostly answering emails. Notice how May keeps her answer light but real. Then she added, Trying not to get distracted. That's something many people can relate to. Jenna responded, That's a whole skill in itself. This phrase means staying focused is a big challenge on its own. Later, she asked, Any weekend plans? This is a good go-to question in casual conversations. May said, Maybe a hike if the weather holds up. Holds up means stays nice or doesn't get worse. Jenna replied, My cousin's getting married. Backyard thing. This is short for it's a backyard wedding. Saying thing after a noun makes it more casual. She added, Should be chill. Chill here means relaxed, not too formal. Then May said, Backyard weddings are cozy. Cozy means warm, simple, and comfortable. At the end, May said, Your vibe is super chill. I'm definitely coming back. Vibe means the feeling someone gives off. Super chill means calm, relaxed, easy to be around. Let's say a few useful phrases out loud, just a trim, please. Take off an inch, clean up the layers. Busy day, trying not to get distracted. Any weekend plans? Your vibe is super chill. I'm definitely coming back. Great job. So here's your reminder. Whether it's at the hair salon or the grocery store, everyday conversations help you build fluency. Focus on connection, not perfection. Let your words flow naturally and enjoy the small talk. In the next episode, we'll follow Omar, who's on a group tour in a new city and trying to keep up with what the guide is saying. We'll work on listening for key details, asking clarifying questions, and joining group conversations without interrupting. Part 12. Omar on the city tour. Omar stood near the fountain in the plaza, surrounded by a dozen other tourists. The tour guide, a cheerful woman with curly red hair and sunglasses, was holding a small blue umbrella high in the air. All right, folks, she said. This plaza is over 400 years old and was once the main market for spices and textiles. Omar tried to listen, but the sound of cars, birds, and distant construction made it hard to focus. He adjusted the strap on his backpack and leaned in a little closer. To his left, 2 people were quietly chatting in French. To his right, a guy with a camera was taking non-stop photos. The guide continued, Now, if you look up at that balcony, see the one with the green shutters? Legend says a famous poet used to live there. Omar squinted. Which balcony? There were like 10. He raised his hand politely. Sorry, which one did you say? The guide smiled. Great question. Right above the bakery, 2nd floor, green shutters, flower box. Aha, got it. Thanks. They moved on to the next stop. As they walked, a woman beside him struck up a conversation. First time here, she asked. Yeah, you? Third time. I love this city. That obvious? No, not at all, but I did see you checking your map like 5 times. Omar chuckled. Busted. Where are you from? Chicago. You? Melbourne. Nice. They walked and talked for a while. When the group paused at a sculpture, the guide began explaining its history, but the words flew by too fast. Omar leaned over to the woman from Melbourne. Did she just say this was built in the 1600s? 1682, I think. I missed the rest. Same. These tours are great, but sometimes I feel like I catch every third word. Yeah, but at least we're not stuck on a bus all day. Good point. At the final stop, the guide turned to the group. Any questions before we wrap up? Omar raised his hand again. What was the name of the poet you mentioned earlier? Luis de Herrera. Wrote sonnets, had wild hair, lived with 4 cats. Omar laughed. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming, everyone. Don't forget to tip your guide. As the group started to drift apart, Omar looked over at his new walking buddy. Want to grab a coffee? There's a spot across the street, she smiled. Why not? Now, let's explore some of the useful language and phrases from the story. First, the guide said, all right, folks, this plaza is over 400 years old. Folks is a casual way to say people or group. It's often used by guides or hosts. Then Omar asked, sorry, which one did you say? That's a polite way to ask for clarification. You can also say, could you repeat that? I didn't catch that. Do you mean the one with the green shutters? The guide replied, right above the bakery. Second floor, flower box. This is a clear and simple way to give visual directions. Later, the woman asked, first time here? That's a friendly, easy way to start a conversation when traveling. Omar answered, yeah, you? Short, natural reply. She said, third time. I love this city. Then added, I saw you checking your map like 5 times. That's a light, teasing way to point something out. And Omar replied, busted. Busted is a slang word that means you caught me or I've been found out. It's casual and playful. When Omar missed something the guide said, he asked, did she just say this was built in the 1600s? Did she just say is a useful phrase to confirm what you heard. It helps you double-check information in fast conversations. Later, the guide said, any questions before we wrap up? To wrap up means to finish or end something. It's common in meetings or tours. She also said, don't forget to tip your guide. To tip means to give extra money as a thank you for a service. Finally, Omar invited the woman for coffee with, want to grab a coffee? This is a casual, friendly way to ask someone to hang out. You can also say, feel like getting a coffee? Want to sit down somewhere? Let's repeat a few useful phrases from today. Sorry, which one did you say? I didn't catch that. First time here? Busted. Did she just say 1682? Any questions before we wrap up? Want to grab a coffee? Nice work. So today's takeaway is simple. When you're in a group or tour setting, don't be afraid to ask for clarification. You won't be the only one who missed something. A polite question can help others too, and sometimes even lead to a new friend. In the next episode, we'll follow Rachel, who's grocery shopping with a list from her roommate and ends up asking for help finding a few items. You'll learn how to ask where things are in a store, clarify ingredients, and check for substitutions. Part 13. Rachel at the grocery store. Rachel stood in the middle of aisle 7, holding her phone in one hand and a shopping basket in the other. Her roommate had sent her a list with 9 items, some normal, some not so much. She read the message again. Can you grab oat milk, granola, not the one with raisins, cilantro coconut yogurt, chickpea flour, and that chili sauce in the green bottle? You know the one Rachel raised an eyebrow. Right, the green bottle. She looked around. There were sauces of every color. Red, orange, brown, even black. But none with green tops. She spotted a store employee stocking the shelf nearby. Hi, sorry. Do you know where I can find chili sauce? My friend said it's the one with the green cap. The guy turned and smiled. She probably means Sriracha. Follow me. It's in the international aisle. Rachel followed him down 2 more aisles until they stopped in front of a wall of bottles. Here you go. This is the classic one with the green top. She grabbed one, looked at the label, and nodded. Yep, that's the one. Anything else I can help with? Actually, yeah. Do you guys carry chickpea flour? Chickpea flour? Let me think. That would be in the gluten-free section, next to almond flour. He pointed, and Rachel headed that way. A few minutes later, she was back near the produce section, looking for cilantro. She grabbed a bunch of green leaves, but wasn't sure if it was cilantro or parsley. Another shopper was standing nearby, picking out carrots. Excuse me, sorry to bother you. Do you know if this is cilantro or parsley? The woman glanced over. That's parsley. Cilantro has flatter leaves and a stronger smell. Here, I think it's over there. Thanks so much. No problem. Parsley's great, just not in tacos. Rachel laughed. Exactly what I was thinking. Finally, she grabbed granola, checking 3 different brands until she found one labeled no raisins, and headed to the checkout line. At the counter, the cashier smiled. Find everything okay? Mostly, Rachel said. Took me a while to figure out the difference between cilantro and parsley. The cashier laughed. Happens all the time. Rachel paid, packed up her bag, and texted her roommate. Mission complete. And yes, I got the right chili sauce. She stepped outside into the afternoon sun, feeling oddly proud. Now let's explore the key English phrases and vocabulary from this episode. First, Rachel asked the store worker, "Do you know where I can find chili sauce?" That's a simple and polite way to ask for help in a store. Other versions you can use, "Excuse me, where's the chili sauce? Can you point me to the sauces? I'm looking for something specific. Can you help?" She added, "My friend said it's the one with the green cap." This is a great real-life example of how we often describe items by appearance instead of the exact name. The worker replied, "She probably means Sriracha." The word probably softens the guess and keeps it friendly. Rachel also asked, "Do you guys carry chickpea flour?" To carry something means to have it in stock or sell it. You'll often hear, "Do you carry oat milk? Do you have almond flour?" He answered, "That would be in the gluten-free section, next to almond flour." This is a helpful, natural way to give directions in a store. Later, Rachel asked another shopper, "Sorry to bother you. Do you know if this is cilantro or parsley?" Sorry to bother you is polite and very useful when asking strangers. The woman replied, "Cilantro has flatter leaves and a stronger smell." She used clear comparison and helped Rachel figure it out. Then she added, "Parsley's great, just not in tacos." That's a fun way to say wrong flavor for this dish, without being rude. At checkout, the cashier asked, "Find everything okay?" This is a standard question cashiers ask. You can reply, "Yeah, all good. Actually, I had trouble finding something. Took me a while, but I got it." Rachel's reply, "Took me a while to figure out the difference between cilantro and parsley." That's how we often explain a small shopping challenge in casual conversation. Let's repeat some key phrases from this episode. Do you know where I can find chili sauce? She said it's the one with the green cap. Do you guys carry chickpea flour? Sorry to bother you. Do you know if this is cilantro? Find everything okay? Excellent. Here's your reminder for today. Grocery shopping can be a great place to practice speaking. Don't be shy to ask for help. People are usually happy to point you in the right direction. Use what you see, describe colors or shapes if needed, and keep it simple. In the next episode, we'll join Kevin, who's getting his car serviced and trying to understand what the mechanic is saying. We'll explore car-related vocabulary, how to ask questions when you don't understand, and how to respond without sounding confused. Part 14. Kevin at the auto shop. Kevin stepped into the garage, the scent of motor oil and rubber hitting him instantly. He walked past 2 cars on lifts and a waiting area with a coffee machine that didn't seem to work. Behind the counter stood a man in a dark blue jumpsuit, wiping his hands with a rag. "Hey there," the man said. "What can I help you with?" "Hi, I have an appointment to get my car looked at. It's been making this weird noise when I brake." "All right, what kind of noise?" "Kind of a squeaky grinding sound, only when I slow down." "Got it. You got your keys?" "Yeah." "Here." Kevin handed over the keys and the man walked outside to take a look. Kevin followed. "It's a Toyota Corolla, right?" "Yep." 2017. "All right, we'll pull it in and check the brakes first. Might be worn pads. Could also be rotors." Kevin nodded, not entirely sure what rotors were, but trying to look like he understood. "How long do you think it'll take?" "Depends what we find. You're welcome to wait here or we can give you a call." "I'll stick around for now." "Thanks. No problem. Coffee's free if you're feeling brave." Kevin chuckled and sat down in the small waiting area. A fan hummed in the corner and a small TV was playing a cooking show with no sound. About 40 minutes later, the mechanic came back in. "All right, Kevin?" "So, it's the brake pads for sure. They're pretty thin. We also noticed the rotors are getting scored. That means they've got grooves worn into them." "Okay, is that dangerous?" "Not yet, but it could get there. Best to replace both while we're at it. That way, you won't be back in 2 weeks with the same issue." "Makes sense. How much are we talking?" "Parts and labor, around $350. We can have it done in under 2 hours." "All right, let's do it. You got it. I'll get started right now." Kevin leaned back and checked his phone. Not how he planned to spend his Saturday, but at least the car would be safe to drive again. An hour and a half later, the mechanic called him over. "All set. We replaced both pads and rotors." "You're good to go. Appreciate it. We recommend checking them again in about a year, depending on how much you drive. But you should be fine for now." "Awesome. Thanks again." "Anytime. Take care out there." Kevin paid, took his keys, and walked back to his car. As he pulled out of the lot, he tapped the brakes. Smooth. No noise. He smiled. Money well spent. Let's go over the useful vocabulary and phrases from this story. First, Kevin said, "It's been making this weird noise when I brake." This is a simple, real way to describe a car problem. You don't need technical words, just describe what you see or hear. He added, "Kind of a squeaky grinding sound. That gives the mechanic a better idea of what to look for." You can describe car sounds like this. It's rattling. It sounds like something scraping. There's a knocking noise. The mechanic said, "Might be worn pads. Could also be rotors." Brake pads are part of the braking system. Worn means used up, getting thin. Rotors are metal discs that the pads press on. Then he said, "We'll pull it in and check the brakes." To pull it in means they'll drive the car into the garage to inspect it. Kevin asked, "How long do you think it'll take?" That's a natural way to ask about time without sounding pushy. The mechanic replied, "Depends what we find. You're welcome to wait." Depends is short for it depends on the situation. Very common in casual talk. He added, "Coffee's free if you're feeling brave." That's a light joke. Garage coffee is usually bad, so this joke adds a friendly tone. Later, the mechanic said, "They're pretty thin. We also noticed the rotors are getting scored." Scored means scratched or damaged with grooves. It's a common mechanic term. He also said, Best to replace both while we're at it. While we're at it means since we're already doing one thing, we might as well do the other two. Kevin asked, "How much are we talking?" That's an informal way to ask for the price. Other versions, "What's the damage? How much is that going to run me?" And finally, "You're good to go." This phrase means everything's fixed and ready. Let's say some of these useful phrases out loud. It's been making a weird noise when I break. We'll pull it in and check. How long do you think it'll take? Best to replace both while we're at it. How much are we talking? You're good to go. Great work. Here's your takeaway. When talking to professionals like mechanics, you don't need to know all the jargon. Just describe what you see or hear clearly. If they say something you don't understand, ask them to explain. Most are happy to help. In the next episode, we'll meet Sophia, who's on a video call for a job interview. We'll talk about how to answer common interview questions, express confidence, and stay natural while speaking in English under pressure. See you then. Part 15. Sophia's first video interview. Sophia adjusted her webcam for the third time. She leaned back, checked the lighting, and brushed a strand of hair behind her ear. Her laptop screen showed a tiny preview of her face in the corner, and a countdown timer next to the words, "Meeting will begin shortly." Her palms were slightly sweaty, so she rubbed them on her jeans. "You've got this," she whispered to herself. It was her first job interview in English, and on Zoom. She had practiced answers all week, rehearsed in front of a mirror, and even recorded herself to check her pronunciation. Still, now that the time had come, her stomach felt like it had butterflies, and maybe a small elephant too. The screen blinked. "You are now joining the meeting." A second later, a woman in a bright blue shirt appeared on screen. "Hi, you must be Sophia?" "Yes, hi. Nice to meet you. I'm Clara. I'll be doing your interview today. Can you hear me okay?" "Yes, I can hear you. Great. Let's get started." Clara smiled, then looked down at her notes. "So, tell me a little bit about yourself." Sophia took a breath. "Sure, my name is Sophia, and I'm originally from Argentina. I studied marketing, and I've been working in social media for the last 3 years. Most recently, I worked with a fashion startup, helping them grow their online presence." "That's great. What made you apply for this position? I really like your company's focus on creativity and community. I saw some of your campaigns, and they're really inspiring. I think my experience and ideas could add value." Clara nodded. "Tell me about a time you had to solve a problem under pressure." Sophia paused for half a second, then launched into her story. "There was a time when we had a campaign scheduled to launch, and suddenly our influencer dropped out the night before. We had to rethink everything in less than 24 hours. I suggested using a customer video we had from an earlier post, and we turned it into a last-minute promotion that actually performed better than the original plan." "That's impressive. Sounds like you can think on your feet." "I try. What would you say is your biggest strength?" "I think I'm good at seeing the big picture, but also catching small details." "And your biggest weakness?" Sophia smiled. "I sometimes get too caught up in trying to make everything perfect, but I'm learning to trust the process more." Clara laughed gently. "That's a very honest answer." They continued chatting for another 10 minutes. At the end, Clara said, "Well, that's all I have for today. Do you have any questions for me?" "Yes. What's the next step in the hiring process? We're finishing interviews this week, and we'll be in touch early next week." "Thanks again, Sophia. You did great." "Thank you so much. It was lovely meeting you." "You too. Have a great day." The screen froze, then disappeared. Sophia sat still for a moment, then let out a deep breath. She'd done it. Let's go over some key language from this episode. First, the classic interview question. Tell me a little bit about yourself. That's your chance to share your background, but keep it short. Talk about where you're from, your experience, and something relevant to the job. Sophia said, "I studied marketing and worked in social media. clear, simple, and relevant. Next, what made you apply for this position? That means, why are you interested in this job? A good answer includes something you admire about the company and how your skills fit. Then, tell me about a time you had to solve a problem under pressure. This is a behavioral question. A strong answer usually includes the situation, the challenge, what you did, and the result. Sophia used, I suggested using a customer video. We turned it into a promotion. It actually performed better, Clara said. Sounds like you can think on your feet. To think on your feet means to make good decisions quickly, especially in a stressful situation. It's a compliment. Next, what's your biggest strength? A good way to answer is to match your strength to the job, like, I'm detail-oriented or I work well with teams. 4, what's your biggest weakness? Keep it honest, but also show you're improving. Like Sophia said, I get caught up in trying to make everything perfect, but I'm learning to trust the process. This shows self-awareness and growth. Finally, the question, do you have any questions for me? Always say yes. You can ask about the team, the next steps, or company culture. Sophia asked, what's the next step in the hiring process? Perfect. Let's say some phrases together. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Why are you interested in this position? Tell me about a time you solved a problem under pressure. Think on your feet. What's your biggest strength? What's your biggest weakness? What's the next step in the hiring process? Excellent. And that wraps up our season. If you've been following along, you've now heard 15 real-life stories in English, from cafes and grocery stores to hair salons and job interviews. Each one gave you real vocabulary, natural expressions, and a little confidence boost. Remember this, you don't need to sound perfect. You just need to keep showing up, keep practicing, and keep speaking. Fluency isn't about knowing every word, it's about connection. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next season.